Welcome back, guys. We are on episode 27 of the Inner Alchemy with Sundal podcast, and today we're discussing this Russian couple who just performed this stunt on top of the Empire State Building, and obviously I've been posting about it for like the last day or so. I did actually have another topic planned for today's video, but then this kind of came along, and it's kind of all over the news right now, and I wanted to share some thoughts because there's so many themes running through this story. And my views about it have changed quite a lot as the story has unfolded, as I posted on Instagram. So initially when it happened, I was like, whoa, this is so badass. Ariana Jasmine, who is a Iranian pro-Palestine content creator, posted about it. And she said it was an activist couple who'd climbed onto the Empire State Building and unfurled this flag, and I was just like, wow, that is so epic, that's so cool. And then he proposed to her, and I was just like, wow, it gets better. So I was just like, this is epic, this is so legendary, I love that they did this. And I posted about it on Facebook. I was just like, me and Dom share the same Facebook account at the moment since I got kicked off last year. So if I want to tag him, I basically have to tag us. So I just tagged us. I was just like, we might have to do a round 2 because this is goals. If you guys missed our engagement last year, I'm gonna quickly post it here because it was so epic. I loved our engagement. Like, Dom kind of whisked me away to a music festival and totally took me by surprise, and it was amazing. But the way that they did it was also very us coded, very kind of like revolutionary, badass, and I thought it was really cool. Krista Boucher commented, sorry if I got your name wrong. There's a friend of Dom's who's a vegan bikini competitor. Y'all should go follow her. She commented, it could have been you two, I can see it. So I was really flattered by that. So at first I was just like, this is awesome. And then when it emerged who they actually were, the picture of them emerged, I was just like, yes, I knew it. These are twin flames. Like, you can just see it. You can see it in their eyes. They're obviously a gorgeous couple. Love the style. So adorable. Ryan Nicole, if you're not following her, she kind of posts on Facebook about twin flame stuff. I used to be friends with her on Facebook before my account got deplatformed, and then I just found her again after this post went viral. And she posted, these are the individuals who climbed the Empire State Building, together declaring the message of love. They embody the essence of twin flames. Their eyes reveal the truth, and only twin flame love can manifest such a radical expression of love. The only person I would ever do something like this with is my twin. I believe this was a signal being sent out to twin flames. Physical reunion is here. It's such an amazing time to be alive and living in alignment with your soul. We're rising. Which I shared because I was just like, yes, I love this. Like, it just felt like so Christ Sophia coded. It was just like, you could see their alignment. Like, to be the type of couple that do something so dangerous and so illegal and so revolutionary and badass, like, you have to be the same soul. So I was really all about it. And then some more details emerged, and I've now changed my opinion about it. So the first thing was, like, Krista shared, they have a documentary out on Netflix, and I was just like, already? What? Like, that's weird. So then I looked it up and I was just like, oh, okay, so it's not a random activist couple. They're like well known for being like professional parkour athletes, I guess, or like they climb skyscrapers for a living. Like, this is who they are. And found them on Instagram, and the girl at that time, Angela, Angela Nicolau, she had like 1 million followers on Instagram, and I was just like, okay, this is a thing. This is obviously something that they planned, and I kind of looked at it a little bit differently, because I was just like, okay, I guess it's not, it wasn't just two random people who decided to do this, very dangerous and illegal feat, in order to, because they were motivated to spread a message. It's literally just part of their act. So that kind of made me a little bit like, that kind of is a little disappointing. Because it was so activist coded. And I get that maybe that's just my interpretation, or the way that it was presented by the influencer that I found out about it through. But it just kind of made me feel a little bit cynical, because I was just like, okay, this wasn't really, it wasn't, what I thought it was. But, I started seeing all the memes pop up, and some of these memes I love. But this is kind of, I think the thing that captured me about it, and what made me resonate with it so strongly, is that, like, it's not that me and Dom would risk our lives. If we were going to risk our lives, we would do it because of the cause, not because of the actual pure love of like climbing skyscrapers. That's not what we're about. And if we were going to risk our lives, it would be for something bigger than ourselves. It wouldn't be just for the thrill of risking our lives, or just for art's sake. I get that, not everyone is like that, and they clearly are about that life. That's not what we're about. Okay, we would do it to, like, slow down the manufacture of weapons, the manufacture or transportation of weapons that are going to bomb children, or something like that. So, with all the different meme and AI interpretations of this event, this one was my favorite, with the Palestine flag. So that's how we would have done it. So, people have rightfully criticized them. There was one creator, Ukrainian creator, who said, this particular couple, Angela and Ivan, are Russian. And they're like, they're spreading a message about peace, but they've got such a huge platform. She had 1 million followers at the time. She now has 3 million, and he had 500,000. I'm not sure how many he has now. But not, if they were really about peace, then they could have used their platform ages ago to talk about the multiple wars and multiple genocides. They could criticize the actions of their own government for illegally invading a sovereign nation, Ukraine, and causing a lot of destruction there. Not that I'm like a fan of Zelensky or anything. I know that he's a fucking Zionist, but so is Putin. So is Putin. And Putin has illegally invaded another sovereign nation, and caused untold destruction and crimes against humanity, and ruined the lives of many innocent people and killed people. So they haven't actually said anything about that. So people are rightfully skeptical, and I think that criticism is very valid, because they're, as much as it's great to talk about the power of love, and if the power of love will can overcome the love of power, then the world will know peace. It's just like, yeah, but are you guys actually living in accordance with that messaging, or are you just trying to clout chase? Are you just taking advantage of a cultural moment where people are begging for peace, and begging for love, on a planet where a lot of peace and love is very difficult to find right now? Are you really living in alignment with those values? And I'm not really so sure that they are. Other rightful criticisms have been, Candy and the Kings posted that if they were Muslim, they would have been shot immediately. They would not have been treated so delicately by the police. If they were black, they would definitely have been shot. And if they were unfurling a flag about, the Epstein files or about Palestine, they probably also would have been dealt with a lot more brutality than what they were handled with. So yeah, what they did was, it was Daredevil, but it was very brand safe Daredevil. They're certainly not going to be ruffling the feathers off, their sponsors and the companies that they do brand deals with. So, if you go and you look at their platform right now, one of the number one brand deals that they have pinned to the top of their page is a campaign for Diesel. If you guys don't know, Diesel is on the BDS list. It's owned by the parent company L'Oreal, which has a really problematic history funding and supporting the Zionist settler colony. And L'Oreal also has a really problematic history of testing on animals. So, that's why I don't work for L'Oreal and haven't worked for L'Oreal and will not be working for L'Oreal. I did the L'Oreal Color Trophy when I was very, very early in my career, when I was like 22. That was like 20 years ago almost. But not recently. Yeah, so critics have called them selfish, fame and money hungry. When I kind of look at the page, I've kind of spent a little bit more time on her page than his page. She's a little bit more interesting to me. She's obviously got more followers as well, and I think she's inspired a lot of people. I see somebody that's got a real dedication and commitment to their art and to provoking people and inspiring people with their art. And, I think her style's very cute. I love the cat ears and stuff. They are for sale on her Instagram. I won't be buying them, but anyway. But it just feels a little bit hollow and empty, because I don't know. I just think that at the point that we're at now in history, if you have a platform that's that big and you're not using it to talk about the things that humanity is currently facing, you're actually just a waste of space. Like, that's how I feel at this point. It's vacuous, it's narcissistic. And I just think that we're making the wrong people famous when we're giving attention to these people. So I won't be praising them anymore. I just think like I would like to see them do better. I would like to see them use their platform just a little bit more altruistically. Like I just find this a little bit boring. I think in 2026, I'm just over vacuous, self-serving influencers who don't really stand for anything. But at the same time, I get why so many people were captured and inspired by this amazing display of like romance and devotion. And because there has to be, like, to do something like that together, firstly there has to be some really, really strong alignment with each other. There's so much trust between them, because they're literally like risking their lives together to do this really dangerous and illegal act. They're getting arrested every time they do it. And when we've got like a kind of cultural landscape of like dating horror stories, 50-50 lifestyles, red pill content, pink pill content, black pill content, people discussing like, sexual marketplace value, like who is a high value man, who is a high value woman, and just very transactional relationships. Seeing two people that seem so genuinely passionate about each other and devoted to each other and devoted to their message and their mission and their purpose is really inspiring. It is. There's something electric about that, and I think that that's what really inspired and activated people. There's loads of people who've been posting like that they just raised the bar on relationships and proposals, like so many girls, while they're kind of complaining about not getting a call back or not getting a guy texting them back. There's this guy who's like, not just a guy, couple willing to risk their lives for each other and for their shared purpose, just dropping down on one knee. Now, it has emerged, and I don't know if this is true or not, but her own father had appeared on ABC News and said that they were actually already married and that this is just a stunt. So it's kind of not looking too good, guys. Yeah, so you know, I don't want to burst everyone's bubble on this, because I know that like there's not that many examples out there of people who are beautiful, inspiring, obsessed with each other. Like nowadays there's so much conversation about like decentering men, and it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend, and now you've got two couples who are so hopelessly in love with each other. They literally, there's no embarrassment about it. They're just unashamedly posting you know, content that features each other in like passionate embraces. I would say sometimes veers into a slightly voyeuristic type of content for my personal taste. Like it's not that I don't have a problem with public displays of affection. You know, I've posted plenty of content of me and Dom kissing, but like the Diesel campaign in particular just went on a little bit too long, and I kind of felt like I felt like I was witnessing a private moment that I shouldn't really be witnessing. I don't know if that was intentional on the part of the art directors, but for me it just felt a little bit uncomfortable, and I noticed that other people in the comment section kind of joked about it. They weren't really like criticizing, but they were pointing out that it felt like they shouldn't really be seeing that. Yeah, so you know, when you're seeing people kind of you know, making jokes about their partner, like, and this has been going on obviously for decades, you know, people talking about the old ball and chain, and now it's flipped the other way, where, you know, women are talking about how it's embarrassing to have a boyfriend, and don't share your platform with your man, and your old male-centered men are dangerous. And look, I get it, like they definitely can be, but saying that, like, you know, if you're posting about your man, it's really embarrassing. And so I think it's really refreshing seeing something like this, where they're obviously super obsessed with each other, and they're super aligned, and they're on the same mission, and they have the same interests, and they're similarly crazy, you know, they're similarly yoked. Like that's what a lot of the comments were saying. They're just like, imagine in this kind of crazy world that you can find somebody who's just as crazy and just as passionate and just as adventurous and willing to, you know, just be a ride or die basically. You got to find that person and never let them go. And that's exactly how I feel about Dom. When I met Dom, I was just like, oh, that's exactly the type of energy that I've always been looking for in a man. He's just like me in so many ways. Well, obviously not exactly the same in every way. He's on video call right now. His face, he's blushing.
Love you, baby.
Love you too. I'm going to bring him on in a bit because he's got some gematria decodes which are really interesting, as we talked about in the reel that we... Yeah, on the Instagram reel. If you didn't see it, don't worry, we'll reiterate it. So I'll bring Dom on now, and yeah, I'll bring Dom on now. I just lost some footage and I don't even remember what I said. So I'll just bring him on and we'll go through the gematria decode, give you guys all the information, and then you guys make up your own mind. He needs a little minute before he's ready. So yeah, just what else was I saying? This is why I keep saying with my earlier point is that you have to activate your own unique templating in order to find your person. Like, these two didn't find each other. Well, I don't actually know the story of how they found each other. They might have just randomly found each other, like at a club or down like the local newsagent. I don't know. And then together found their shared love of climbing skyscrapers. I would be interested to know, and I probably will watch the documentary to find out how they actually found each other.
Hey, it's Editing Sundal. So just quickly, before I'm doing the final edit before this goes out, it's already up on Patreon. If you want the full Patreon version, I had to take a couple of Dom's really hot takes out. The link is in the bio. So I have watched the documentary now, and I have some additional thoughts. And if you want to hear them, wait until the end of the video, and I'm going to put them there. Okay, my additional thoughts. Just watch the rest of the podcast.
But activating your unique templating is how you magnetize your soulmate. Okay, and in order to do that, you have to get to know who you are. So one of the things that Angela was saying, which I did quite like and I thought was very inspiring, she identifies herself as an artist rather than an athlete or a parkour athlete or anything else. And I would say with her kind of brand, with like the Catwoman and the cityscape and the photography and everything, I would say that it does come into the definition of art. She said that you cannot follow somebody else's formula. You cannot follow somebody else's template because you are never really going to be successful like that. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily agree because there's a lot of other people who have become successful doing what other people have done. But I do agree with her that you should follow your own template, because maybe they became successful but weren't really being true to themselves. She said if you do what's never been done before, that kind of unique combination of danger, passion, romance, fashion, that kind of metropolis, and all the different combinations, the unique combination of everything that they've brought together into their brand, it's something that is very unique to them. So she said that when you are being a trailblazer, you can't help but be noticed when you're being unique to you. And I would say that definitely when it comes to finding your person, that is what makes you irreplaceable to each other. Okay, I don't think that either of them worry about finding another skyscraper climbing Russian influencer that they have to compete. There's not many people that they have to compete with, so they're probably not worrying too much about each other looking sideways because they're uniquely coded for each other. I just wish that they were kind of using their platform to, I mean, I know that they're risking their lives and everything, but I just feel like, with the symbol of like unfurling the flag, I think that they could have done more with everything that's happening in the world right now. There were so many other really impactful things that they could have said. But who knows, maybe that would have been even more dangerous for them because obviously they are risking their lives with the physical danger. It would have obviously been dangerous in other ways. So you have to find out what that is for you. What is your unique templating? Who are you? Who are you inside? Activating your soul's blueprint, your soul mission. That's by, connecting to your passions, your talents, what are the things that you love, the things that light you up, the things that make you cry, the things that make you rage. Okay, for me and Dom, it was actually our sacred rage that brought us together. We were speaking up about all the things that we thought were fucked up in the world, and that's the thing that brought us together. And we are both very creative as well. We're both very artistic. We both, like Dom, he would have, if he had gone to uni, he would have studied art and design, and I studied architecture at uni, and we're both very good with video editing, graphic design, fashion. He's really good with music. I'm not quite so good with music, but I've got skills in other areas as well. So you'll find that when you find your person, if you haven't found them yet, that you guys will have the unique skills and talents uniquely templated to support both of you in your shared mission and what you're here to do together. So I think another thing that people are really connecting to is recently a lot of proposals have been feeling the whole wedding culture scene and proposal scene has just become very performative. A lot of luxury proposals, a lot of really flexing with spending a lot of money. And I'm not saying that there's anything bad about that. If you have it, then there's nothing wrong with people spending their money and, spending money on the person that you love the most. It should be, performative. You don't want it to be in McDonald's or I would be offended if some effort wasn't put into our proposal. Dom did spend quite a lot of money on, taking me to the festival that he took me to and surprising me there with the proposal. So, and it was very unique to us, because we both love festivals. He's a DJ. I love dancing. I love dressing up. We both love being in nature. And it was very us, that proposal. But I think I think what people have connected to is like, it wasn't like, it was obviously performative, and it was epic. But it wasn't like that kind of like luxury flexing that in today's economy is just starting to feel, can feel a little bit out of touch sometimes to people. So I think that's another reason why a lot of people have connected to it. They're just like, you can create something that doesn't have to have all those expensive bells and whistles, but can still show love and devotion in another way. And, I'm sure that they're both pretty well resourced. I mean, they've got like millions of followers between them. So, I think they probably could have afforded to do something romantic and luxurious if they wanted to, but that's not what they're about. So yeah, I just thought it was kind of revolutionary in that it was like kind of like an anti-consumerism proposal, which, I really liked that about it. Like, obviously it did look like a big rock, and I'm not really into diamonds, but maybe it was like a lab-grown ethical diamond. We don't know. Baby, you ready? Hey, baby.
Hey.
How you doing?
Thanks, Sam.
Of
I'm
course.
good, thanks.
Yeah, so you had quite a lot to say about this. What's your?
Yeah.
I'll just let you go for it. You had some pretty strong opinions, didn't you?
Yeah, when I see stuff on the news, I'm just like, okay, there's something behind this. It's never just as cute and innocent and for the people as it seems, right?
Well, when I thought, sorry, let me just interrupt you, because I do want to take people through the progression and the journey that we've been on since yesterday. So I did ask you about it. When was it, yesterday that it happened, or the day before? I think it was the day before.
I think it's July 1st.
Yeah,
and then we talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, so I thought it was kind of epic. I didn't think it was like going to be I didn't know it was going to be a huge thing. I asked you about it, and your first response was, eh.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I thought it was epic. Why don't you like it? And you were like, they didn't say about Palestine. And I was like, well, there's a lot of things going on right now. It's not just about Palestine anymore. There's Congo, Sudan, data centers, cost of living crisis, like Iran, Lebanon. Like I think it's all encompassing. They're talking about all the things, why is that not good enough? And you were just like, meh, they should have just, it's a bit wishy-washy. And then I asked you about it again last night, and I thought you were going to say straight away that it was a ritual, but you took a little while to say that. You were just like, I can't remember what you said at first, and then it took you like maybe 10-15 seconds, and then you kind of went, maybe it's a ritual. And I was like, well, I was going to ask if you were interested in running the numbers, and then immediately you started running the numbers, and straight away you were like, oh damn.
Yeah, I was kind of interested to see what it was about, and then when I saw the flag, I'm just like, they could have been more fucking specific. They could have said like, the government's eating fucking children, they're cannibals, they're Satanists are running the world, there's genocides happening, Israel's committing genocide. And I was like, but they just went with a Jimi Hendrix quote, like, what's that about?
Yeah.
And then looking into it further, the next thing I noticed was like her fingernail. She literally has an upside down cross on her middle finger. And I'm like, that's not a coincidence. And then like, she's got the little horns on her head, and I'm just like, why are they wearing these goofy ass outfits all blacked out? And I'm just like this, there's something about their clothes. And then I knew nothing about these climbers. I never heard about their documentary or anything like that, or Netflix show. And then you just look into that and you're like, wow, okay. The first pinned post on her 3 million followers Instagram page is like a diesel commercial. Like, she's just a diesel model basically. And I'm like, that makes sense. And then I just started running some numbers, and first off, right off the bat, well, the other things that stood out to me was her age. 33. She just happens to be 33, of course. And then they mentioned in the details they climbed out of the 102nd floor's hatch, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, because that's significant. That matters because 102 is basically 201 in reverse, and 201 is a huge Jesuit number. I'll get into that in a second. And then also, for example, like the first thing, upside down cross equals 201 in gematria. And let me see. I'm pretty sure Ignatius of Loyola, which is the founder of the Jesuits, his name also equals 201 in gematria. Let me just double check here. Yeah, Ignatius of Loyola, Society of Jesus, Jewish mysticism, all these words equal 201. The Jesuit Order, Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America, the Holy Bible, State of Israel, Holocaust survivor, Order of Illuminati, World Trade Center towers, sacrifice to Saturn, Saturn worship, Saturnian order, because they worship Satan, and Saturn represents Satan, basically. That's why Nike has the Grim Reaper scythe swoosh logo, because they're reaping souls. When you join the military, they keep a file on you called a 201 file. Pedophilia equals 201. Heliocentrism's 201. QAnon's 201. So I could just go on and on. It's insane. So
it's interesting because QAnon people tend to be really obsessed with gematria. Have they not noticed that their own movement has the same numerology as all these other things?
I don't know. I don't keep up with that level of stupidity. I don't even know how it fell for that to begin with. Trump's been a Jesuit pedophile since the Freemason Zionist since the beginning. It's not a fucking surprise. He literally has the Jewish cube on top of his Trump towers.
Right. Yeah.
Come on. Let's see what else. And then of course, look into Diesel and his name in gematria, Resno? Yeah, is 33. His last name combined with his first name equals 56. And 56 is also a massive number to them because, and check this out too, so if you add up the climbers' ages, 33 and 32, you get 65, which is also, we're reversing all the numbers in this story, this little ritual, is 56.
Okay. And 56 had a certain significance, didn't it? I feel like we've talked about 56 in previous videos.
Yeah, 56 is huge for them. Because here we go. All these words equal 56 in gematria. And gematria, for those of you who don't know or new, there's a couple ciphers that they use, and it's basically how it comes from. It's the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words and pairing them with significant things that have similar values or significance to help create these rituals. It's basically a form of black magic to manipulate our reality, manipulate your emotions, and it's how these criminals, the Freemason Jesuit Zionists, put their fingerprint and their signature on all their crimes. That's why in the news you'll see all these things like, the shooter was 33. He had 33 rounds left in his car. All this stuff. His random details. He had a 33-inch waist, or he was some 33 and coded and everything, as most of you know. So anyways, all these words here, when you add up, let me get into the ciphers too. So a couple ciphers, for example, the main English ordinal cipher is A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, down to Z is 26. Then there's a reverse English ordinal cipher, which is backwards, which will be Z is 1, Y is 2, X is 3, back to A is 26. Mm-hmm. So anyways, when you add up the numerical value of all these words, these all equal 56. Church of Satan, Donald Trump, which is his real name, cult, royal family, Rockefeller, Pope, Society of Jesus, again in a different cipher, like I said, it's also 201. Paris, France, where the Jesuit order was founded, the Great Seal, which is the pyramid on the money, our American US dollars all have the all-seeing eye pyramid, which is their Freemason triangle pyramid, and that equals 56. Flesh-eating, 56. Cannibal. Hail Hitler. Adolf Hitler. And Kanye, of course. Kanye's got the song.
Yeah.
Hail. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Total control dog.
Yeah, for sure. And then ISIS equals 56, which is Israeli Secret Intelligence Services. Saturn's 56. George Orwell is 56. Everyone's like, oh, he predicted the future. No, he's disclosing. He's a high-level Freemason who's disclosing their plans as part of Revelation of the Method, which is a satanic ritual to disclose what they're doing to you. So it kind of alleviates some of their karmic burden, or so they believe, for telling you what they're going to do to you. And then if you do nothing about it, you consent to it and you help manifest it. And you give them permission to do this to you. Coronavirus, 56. COVID vaccine, 56. Anthony Fauci, mind control. Down the toilet paper.
Wow.
The H1 and the H. Yeah, they're like, really? We're out of toilet paper? That's the most intimate. They're just mocking the shit out of you, literally. Rubbing it in your face. And the people just fall for it.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions. So what's the significance of the reversal? Like when they do 102 instead of 201?
Well, it's just a way that they also help make these numbers fit into their rituals and stuff. Okay. And it just adds more intention and power and focus, right, into what you're doing. And as we know, Satanists invert everything.
Yeah.
And hence we have Ben on cross. We got her wearing devil horns. We got, they're calling them the daredevil couple in the headlines, right?
Interesting.
Shoving devil in your face, and people are brushing off. No, she's just Catwoman. It's just innocent. Oh yeah, then why isn't he Batman? Where are his little horns too, right? Like, it's not what it's about. You don't get it.
Oh yeah, speak to the you shared the reel about the U.S. Homeland Security posting about the.
I just saw that today. There was some post I saw on Instagram reel going around. This lady was pointing out that the U.S. Homeland Defense Department or some crap in the U.S. posts a photo, like a cartoon CGI image or something, whatever, AI generated.
Listen up. So the U.S. Homeland Security posted this on X yesterday. It says, time is short. If our sky turns red and the elites and politicians disappear, you need to be ready for some biblical S to take place. We are near the end times. Crazy. This year they've been talking about the end times nonstop. But did you notice the red sky? And I find it a coincidence that yesterday they posted this and it's got Batman in the picture. Anybody who's watched the news or been on social media has seen the couple that climbed the Empire State Building. And what was the woman wearing? A Batman mask.
Yeah, it's literally Batman standing on the peak of a tower point or a building point top, and it's like got a red sky, and they're talking about how when the sky turns red, expect this and all this stuff, and they're talking, I forget what it was all about, but something about earthquakes and just biblical prophecy shit that they're just subliminally programming.
And shutting down sun.
Yeah, and they're just trying to, desensitize you and condition you to think that this is okay, this is normal, expect this, and then when you're focused on like, oh my god, the sky's going to turn red, everyone's all fearing that, so that intention helps manifest the reality and make the stuff happen.
They're deliberately scripting rituals to put symbols and signs and synchronicities so that people think that we're in the end times. Okay, but these are not like, we're not in the end times, guys. They've been trying to make you feel like the world is ending for hundreds of years, okay? The world is not ending. If anything, this is like the great revealing, okay? We have the opportunity to take our power back. Another question I wanted to ask you is, do you think that these, that the talent, the influencers, are in on all of this, or do you think that they just don't know that they're actually being used somehow and they don't actually know what is behind it?
They might not, but I doubt it. Like, when you start getting into the territory of having millions of followers and big brand deals like this, like, you're starting, I don't know whether this is like the early stages of their initiation into this, but it's definitely not the last we'll hear of this couple, and like, they're going to be just blown up and shoved in our faces for more reasons. And when you look at the company Diesel, like, they're just a satanic company. They and they're all about like just animal abuse, animal cruelty. I just made a video if you want to check it out on my Facebook and Instagram.
So my read on it is I think that they don't know, but because if you guys are new here, you don't know that I've basically pivoted from a 20-year long modeling career into doing healing work and exposing some of this stuff. And from what I've seen in the industry, I think that a lot of people do not know what they're involved in, and they don't know how they're being used, but it is a slippery slope, because you will find yourself getting deeper and deeper involved with these people, and there's so many predators. A lot of them are dangerous, and you do essentially kind of have to sell your soul, not literally in a fucking ritual with hoods in a Freemason lodge, but you have to compromise your morals. Okay, I have done so many jobs for companies whose ethics I just did not agree with, and you have to in order to survive, because there's fucking so many of them, and it has been so difficult to kind of reclaim my soul from the industry. I am still modeling a little bit, but since in the last year I've basically told my agent that I am no longer willing to shoot for any brands on the BDS list. I'm no longer willing to shoot for any really sexy, revealing lingerie brands. And I have a couple of other restrictions as well. I don't tend to shoot for anything that is tests on animals. And it's become very, very restrictive. So I've been putting so much more of my focus into my healing work. And taken on other types of work as well, so that I don't compromise my morals, because you can't survive in that industry if you have morals. Basically, there's so many brands on the BDS list, there's so many brands that have sketchy corporate social responsibility, and you can be successful if you don't have any morals, but if you do have morals, it's difficult. And I don't know how heavily involved people in the industry are. I think it's like a gradation. The photographer who shot the Diesel campaign, his name's Grant Thomas. I actually used to be friends with him on Facebook. I've never met him personally, but one of my closest friends shot with him in India. I think he went there to shoot for Vogue India. He was very new in the industry at that time. This was like 12 years ago, and he was only 19, and he was very talented, extremely talented photographer. He'd been shooting since he was a kid, and he was getting really good jobs by that point, and she did like a test shoot with him at that time. So I'm not saying anything about him. I don't know, but this is what I'm saying from my experience, that it's like at a certain point you are rubbing shoulders with some of these people that have been named in the Epstein files, that are complicit in genocide. And it's just it's just shady, and it's a slippery slope. So it's not like these people are all meeting up and fucking, like I said, meeting up and doing occult rituals. That's not what I'm saying. Like, it's just you just start to realize that you're surrounded by predators and narcissistic people who have no morals. And if you're a person who's connected to God, or you're going through some kind of spiritual awakening like I was, and like a lot of models in the industry who I met, a lot of us just end up leaving the industry because it's really hard to stay in it.
Yeah, I'm proud of you for leaving it.
Well, not left completely, but yeah, I definitely am a lot more sovereign within it, and I pick and choose. There are brands who have really good corporate social responsibility and are doing good things, and I would love to see more of that. Like, it is possible, if you, maybe not like in modeling, because modeling is a little bit harder, but in influencer marketing, for people who are considering getting into influencer marketing, I think that there is a space to only work for ethical companies. But you also, I think at this point, honestly, I think a lot of people going into I personally think that modeling as it used to be over the last few decades is doomed. It's not going to be like how it was before anyway, because of AI. You have to have something to say. You have to have a voice and a personal brand. And nowadays it's a lot of like creator founders just starting their own thing. So, you know, it's, if you're a person that actually does have morals and you don't want to work for these complicit brands, there's never been a better time. So, you know, if that's to reassure anybody who's wanting to enter the kind of creator marketplace or influencer marketplace or fashion industry or, you know, advertising industry or whatever, just start your own thing. You know, like if you're blessed, if you're lucky enough to be genetically blessed like this couple is, and like so many young people are, you should be mindful about how your image is being used. And if it's being used to prop up these, you know, oppressive brands that are complicit in human and animal rights abuses, then that's on your soul. Okay, that will be on your soul, and you should be mindful about how you're using your beauty currency and your influence and your brand and your face, and what kind of world you want to create with that. So, you know, we're very much about like not propping up oppressive systems and structures. And yeah, it is quite difficult to do right now, and not everyone is. I get that not everybody has the privilege to make those choices, but I do think it is going to start getting easier the more and more it becomes normalized, and the more we actually start giving attention and supporting creators and influencers and brands and founders who are doing that. So like, if you guys resonate with what we're doing here, then please support us. As you know, that, you know, I got deplatformed last year. You got when did you get deplatformed? You got deplatforms also.
It was in the height of the scamdemic.
Yeah, and you had quite a good. Sorry, go on.
I started specifically calling out all the plant-based doctors and the vegan movement who were also promoting the vaccine, all the vegan bodybuilders and stuff, and I was like, "What's wrong with you? Like, grow a spine? Like, what the fuck, man?" And then instantly, no rhyme or reason, after I started calling them out, like in the comments, and then, making posts about them, just deleted, whole account gone, never got it back.
That's crazy.
No warning, no stress.
Were any of them Zionists?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which ones?
Well, if you're promoting the jab,
you're
not looking in the goddamn science. It's just a dead giveaway right there.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, like all the pokes they're all Israeli tech companies that have the patents on all the bioweapon that was forced on everyone. So I know there's a lot of people in left-leaning pro-Palestine spaces that are all about pushing that whole agenda, but you guys need to realize that was a Zionist agenda. Okay, so you all need to get with the program. It's a lot of those pharmaceutical companies are Zionist controlled and have been experimenting on Black, Indigenous and people of color and white Europeans as well, all of us, for fucking decades.
Yep.
Anyway, I've spoken about that in previous videos. So you had quite a big following before you were deplatformed, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a few thousand followers on Instagram. My Facebook account was, they just kept shadow banning it, and then also back-to-back temporary bans for like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. But they would systematically I would come out of Facebook jail and go right back in for another strike.
Yeah.
Stuff I was posting about years ago, they started bringing up again. They even banned me for like 90 days for posting a famous quote by a former president that said something like, it was a meme, just with the president's face and his quote on it, and they banned me for this for like 90 days. It said, "He who dares to offend cannot speak the truth." against community. How dare you? Banned.
Yeah.
Like, they were just throwing anything and everything at me to just silence me, because I was doing like every freedom rally protest in Florida. We went to the Super Bowl and dressed as referees and held signs in front of hundreds of thousands of people. It was just a fucking amazing, and we were making a lot of waves, and they instantly just had to shut me down. But yeah, and then if you look at the COVID jabs themselves, they're injecting you with fucking monkey DNA and aborted baby fetal tissue.
Yeah.
Like, how satanic is this? And then vegans are going to promote that? Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And they're testing these vaccines on animals and slaughtering animals in the process and torturing them.
Yeah, I know a lot of people on the left got turned off by it because that kind of anti-vax community was so heavily MAGA. And it was, and obviously we're now seeing that just
Yeah,
how bad it was. And I need to do a whole separate video talking about the whole New Age to Jesus and the MAGA infiltration of the spiritual community and the truth community, because we lost so many people to that MAGA right-wing Christian nationalist movement. That's not how it started, because, you know, me and Dom have been in these communities for years, decades even, and we used to be a very left-leaning community, and then somehow we got very infiltrated. So I'm going to talk about that in a separate video. But the reason why I bring this up, guys, is because, and I think I really, really do not say this enough, but we really rely on the support of our community to keep us going with spreading these messages. Most of our content that we produce at the moment is completely free. We do have some videos on Patreon. If you are able to join our Patreon and support us there, we would love to have more people over there, because it financially supports the work that we're doing, but also just amplifying our work, like to really just stand in solidarity, because, you know, speaking up about these things has come at a massive personal and professional risk to both of us, which we haven't spoken about too openly, but we will talk about soon, when the time is right. So, you know, we would really, really appreciate some support and solidarity to help this community grow. So liking our content, commenting on it, sharing it either publicly or privately, telling friends about our work, people who you feel like would resonate with what we're doing, and joining any group containers that we launch. Dom's also working on his own stuff, which is going to be ready to launch soon, so that's really exciting. So yeah, is there anything else you want to say, baby? I think I've said everything that I want to say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for anyone who is still confused about MAGA and doesn't understand that, it's like Trump literally claims he's the father of the COVID vaccine that has literally killed millions of Americans. He's killed more Americans single-handedly with his vaccine than any single president in human history. All the wars combined,
Yeah.
He killed more. What the hell's wrong with you people? Wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's continue with some of these 56s too here. So, yeah, and Black Lives Matter, 56. We know they were controlled opposition, just spending millions on their own personal houses, and the leaders and stuff buying more properties and stuff.
Yeah.
Just put it up.
Just as a caveat, guys, we're not saying that Black Lives don't matter. Obviously, we're very anti-racist and pro-social justice. It's just that whole movement was, you know, they infiltrate every movement and control every movement with their own people, and they, you know, they've got obviously a lot of infiltrators in the Palestine movement as well.
And if that's not enough, let's go to the 77 ritual that they pulled on 9/11, right? So this one's really obvious too. So they said 5 Saudi men, that was the headline, 5 Saudi men, when you type that out, equals 77, hijacked Flight 77, right?
Yeah, shit.
And the leader of those hijackers, his name was Hani Hanjour, his name equals 77. They allegedly, it just gets more and more ridiculous. So they allegedly hijacked this plane for 77 minutes exactly before they did that impossible corkscrew U-turn smash into the Pentagon, right?
Yeah, fuck.
And the Pentagon is on the 77th Meridian West. The Pentagon is 77 feet tall.
No way.
And I wanted to add a couple more details to the significance of 19 and like 9/11. And okay, so look, you have 19 hijackers on, September 11th, and that was 19 years before the COVID scamdemic broke out, and it's called COVID-19.
Oh yeah, shit. Wow, I never noticed that.
Now we have ICE, snatching up all the truthers and fucking deporting them and putting them in prison and torture camps and shit. ICE equals 19. We have AI, A, the first letter, 1, and I being the 9th letter, 19. Mm-hmm. AI is 19. This is, yeah. Oh, and also, they do this because 19 is huge for them, because the moon has 19-year cycles.
Oh. And they do a lot of rituals around the moon. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's some kind of heightened energy for their satanic rituals to do this shit and put around the natural lunar phases and stuff. Yeah, World Trade Center equals 77 in gematria, of course. If you spell out September 11th, 77, the phrase "order from chaos," which is the Jesuits' motto, equals 77. And the Jesuits, remember, are the military order of the Roman Catholic Church. That was another thing tied to this skyscraper ritual. These guys are not German. They're Russian, and the Russians came to power first in Russia. And
the Jesuits.
The Jesuits. Yeah. The new military. At first, it was like the Knights of Malta, I believe, and then it got changed over to. They always just keep changing faces, so people just don't even realize it's the same fucking people controlling shit throughout history. And all roads lead to Rome, right? So, and then speaking of which, Diesel is Italian. Anyways,
you're also Italian.
Yeah, I know, Bob. I'm not in the club. I'm not fucking throwing up Illuminati gang signs and fucking, like, God. And then obviously I'm not a multi-millionaire just influencing the masses and fucking vaccinating children in other countries and stuff like these people do.
Yeah.
Kidnapping them and opening orphanages and selling them to Jeffrey Epstein and the whole sex trade industry. Anyways, so yeah, where was I? The 77. So Catherine the Great in history saved the Jesuits. She preserved 201 Jesuits in the time when the Pope banned them when they came to power in Russia. Yeah. And yeah, so like I said, that 201 number is huge for them. But back to the 77 rituals here again. So yeah, the Jesuits' motto, the Roman Catholic Church's military order, is order out of chaos. And that's what they do. They fake and script all these false flag attacks, drag us into wars so they can just steal more freedom, more land, more resources, and gain more control over humanity. And yeah, so order from chaos is 77, crisis is 77. How many people died on September 11th? They just happened to make the number rounded up to 2,977.
Wow.
And also, the construction on the Pentagon began September 11th. Like, really, what are the odds? And then that's going to go down.
No way. Really?
1940. Just prior to Pearl Harbor. Yep. Oh, and then there was a band. A lot of people haven't heard of this. There was a duo band called I Am the World Trade Center. And they put out an album on the 17th of the 7th month in 2001. So let's see. And the 11th track is called September on the album.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Lolita Express equals 77. Plandemic equals 77. Oh, and also the trade tower construction began in 1968 when 911 was made the national emergency dialing code in the U.S.
Really?
911, September 11th, emergency dialing.
No, obviously, yeah. I know what you mean.
It's just like, it's just such a joke in our face and no one sees it. And then who's behind it? The Jesuits, the Zionists, the same people committing genocide today. See, because nobody stood up on 9/11 and shut the shit down back then, they're just continuing business as usual. Genocide, more false flags. Iran, Iraq, Syria. They even said they were going to do it right to our fucking face. Diesel is on the BDS boycott list. Download the No Thanks app. You can find all these brands that are actively participating in funding and committing genocide and starving millions of people around the world, from Congo, Sudan, Palestine, Lebanon, and more. So download the No Thanks app, boycott these brands, start doing your part today. It's the least you can do. Stop paying them. Yeah. They're evil Satanists. And what you allow them to do to Palestine and Lebanon and Sudan and Congo, they're going to do to you eventually. Yeah. Look at the Georgia Guidestones. Their plan is to depopulate the world back to 500,000 people. And they've literally just killed over 100 million people easy in the last few years. Like, they're just slaughtering people.
Thanks for coming on, baby. I love you so much.
I love you too.
Is there anything else you want to share with everyone?
Yeah, like, subscribe, share, join Patreon.
Yeah.
It all, don't realize how much it helps. Just a comment, like, share, it literally means a lot. Like, we're so censored, if it's not even funny, it's like we can't even get the word out. And there's a reason why these clowns make it on the headlines. Like, they get front page on all the social media, on the news. Like, it's not you're not going to make it organically. You have to be in the club to get those kind of following. They own all the social media platforms. They will just shut you down.
Yeah, we really need you guys to amplify. So if you want to support the work that we're doing, then please consider doing that. And hopefully we can make this community grow and just be stronger together.
Like, think about it. If you and I, average Joes, average boy who aren't in the club, right? If we go start climbing buildings, we're going to get arrested. Our Instagram pages are going to get deleted for doing illegal activities. But these guys, they can just do it all day long. They get front row access. Security lets them right up the tower. Here you go. Yeah, I'm going to do you stupid fucking.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about how they were able to get access. And then also another thing that I forgot to mention, that they actually turned off the antenna because it was harmful to human health. Yeah, and it would have made them very, very sick. But mainstream media isn't really talking about it too much, because then they would have to acknowledge, that these towers are obviously transmitting frequencies that are harmful to people's health.
Oh, I also don't know if you mentioned, I think we read today that their dad admitted they've already been married before, so this proposal bullshit.
Yeah, I already mentioned that.
Yeah, I was just saying, if you look at her Instagram page, it's basically just becoming a glorified OnlyFans page. Like, they're just doing seductive sexual poses and thirst traps, and just, like, she's being strangled on the side of the building and stuff. It's like, the fuck? And you stand for nothing. This is what you're promoting to the youth and the generations to come. There's like some kind of admirable role model just risking their lives for a fucking clothing brand deal. You say nothing about the worst crimes and atrocities being committed in our lifetime. Like, there's literally holocausts happening daily for the last few years, and you got nothing to say. You can't say one fucking word. You can't raise a fucking Palestinian flag or Sudan or Congo and say the fuck,
Yeah.
It's just so much. It's so disgusting. I just have no patience or tolerance for it anymore.
So do you have I know you don't have a problem with like public displays of affection, because we've posted like some kissing stuff as well, but yeah, we're not super like voyeuristic like that.
We're definitely not doing what they're doing.
I mean, we've definitely worn some like BDSM gear at the festival and stuff.
I mean, that was literally for Halloween, though. I mean, if we're going to do this every day in the middle of July, beginning of July, like...
Yeah.
And all these other, like, yeah.
I mean, for me, it doesn't bother me that they're posting, like, romantics. Sometimes it does lean a little bit too much voyeuristic and a little bit too sexual. But, I appreciate they're young and in love. And I don't have a problem with, people showing their body or being... showing that they're into each other, but I definitely see where you're coming from with not speaking up about anything, and being very, I don't like the really overly thirst trappy stuff that's like inviting people to like sexually project onto them. Yeah.
Okay, so now you've heard what we have to say before we watch the documentary. So I did watch the documentary yesterday with my family. I have to say, like, okay, I've taken a slightly different position to Dom. He's obviously not very impressed by them. I am quite impressed by them. I actually do respect them as artists. I think what they do is pretty spectacular, actually, and they've created a very unique visual identity, which I think is pretty badass. So I understand why people are like fawning all over them, because it's not easy to do what they do. And I've just gone through Angela's Instagram, and she's been doing this since like 2013 was her first post on a rooftop doing like one of her acrobatic poses. So she's been doing this since she was like very young, sort of 20 or something. And when you watch the documentary, you'll see how hard they trained for the climb that they did in Malaysia, where they do, it's crazy. And this is part of where my respect comes from, but also part of where my critique comes from, because they literally train to do the lift in Dirty Dancing, you know, the lift that the couple in Dirty Dancing literally train in for months in water and everything. So you show them training, and there's a lot of work that kind of goes into what they do. They have to physically train for months, and then they also have to prepare strategically as well by looking at like aerial photos of the buildings that they're climbing, to try and figure out like what's the best way up and how to get in, and like what it's going to be like when they get there. So they're looking at the spire from above, and they can see that it's got a hole in it, so they have to carry like a scaffold board up with them, and they place the scaffold board over the hole and do the lift there. It's crazy and like so death-defying, and this is also part of where our critique is coming from, because if you're just risking your life to that degree, like I'm just like, what is it for? Like, you know, you've got Oscar Wilde saying art can just be art for art's sake. I just don't agree, okay? Now, obviously, not everyone has to agree with me. I'm not saying that I know the truth about everything. But for me personally, I just think if your art doesn't have a message behind it, if it isn't serving the collective awakening of humanity, if it doesn't have like a political message, then what is it really for? Especially if it's something that you're risking your life for. I just think it's kind of pointless. And also, I just have so many questions, because like I've looked at his Instagram now, and it seems like he's also, both of them seem to also blend other art forms in with what they're doing. So it's not just that they're doing gymnastics and rooftoping and photography and stuff and, you know, fashion. She's also painting on top of the buildings while she waits for security and police to come arrest her. And, you know, she's got like this whole art kit. He's DJing on top of these buildings. Okay. I know from Dom's DJing, I've helped Dom with his sets, like set up and take all the equipment. It's a lot of fucking work. Okay. You have what's the word? The mixing deck. He's got speakers, he's got his laptop, like there's so much equipment. He's got a table, like it's so much equipment that you need to squeeze it into the back of a car, and somehow they're lugging all this equipment up to the top of buildings. Like, okay, yes, sometimes he has a pretty bare bones setup, like he doesn't seem to have a very big mixing deck. But then sometimes he's got like other like producer equipment. He's got his laptop. Sometimes he's just got headphones. Maybe he just has a little like speaker, not like a huge big like JBL like floor, like Dom's got like a 2 meter, not 2 meter. He's got like a maybe 1 meter JBL speaker, and sometimes he uses both of them for his gigs. So, you know, maybe this guy Ivan does not have, you know, 2 huge speakers. Maybe he just has a mini speaker, but it's still like, how is he getting a table up there? Like, I just have so many questions. Like, they must have management and teams who they're working with at this point, because I just can't imagine that they're just scaling these buildings by themselves and bringing all that equipment up there. Like, and also, you know, they're obviously in the US at the moment, so they must have some kind of influencer visa. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's like a special skills visa, but yet what they do is highly illegal, and they're breaking and entering buildings and getting arrested. Like with the Malaysia climb, another thing about the Malaysia climb that I thought was weird, the documentary opens up on a scene of the World Cup. So they literally are doing the Malaysia climb at the same time as the World Cup final, and this event was also organised during the World Cup as well. Could just be a coincidence. They could have just decided, hey, World Cup worked for us really well last time because all the staff and security were distracted, so maybe we'll do that again. Totally could be possible. Hey, I hold space for the coincidence theorists, okay? Sorry, what was I going to say? Yeah, like on the basis of like, hey, we illegally climb buildings for a living, I just find it weird that they were accepted for like a US talent visa, whatever one that's called. I think it's like an Obi-Wan, I don't know, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I can't remember the name of the special type of influencer visa that they would have been qualified for. But they've obviously been scaling multiple buildings, a Hollywood sign and things like that, and risking arrest or maybe even getting arrested. How have they not been deported? That's what I want to know. Like, how have they not been deported? So, you know, y'all can, if any of you have been following them closely, can maybe answer some of these questions. For me personally, as artists, you know, I have respect for the level of skill and commitment to the craft that goes into their work. I like their style. I think they're very cute. They're obviously very gorgeous, really in love. I've got a lot of time for people who are promoting love and unity and divine union. I just want to see a little bit more from them, you know? I would love to see them using their platform to speak up about the things that are happening, because if they don't, then honestly they're just, it's not really doing it for me. Obviously I'm sure they don't care about my opinion, but that's just my perspective on it. Obviously I've not taken quite as strong a position as Dom has, but yeah, what do you guys think? Share your thoughts in the comments. We always love hearing from you. All right, take care, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we leave it there then, baby?
It's pretty good.
Okay, thanks so much for watching, guys. Yeah, if you like to give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, share your thoughts. We're always open to hearing your thoughts, as long as you keep them respectful. If you disagree, you can obviously disagree, but just keep it respectful. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Peace out. One love.